and enjoying my family.
So likewise for helping me, helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using LifeWave daily and their families. Big, big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand up long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 watch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love
Approximately 2 weeks, my pain
the product. Because Hubbard feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
Well, good evening and welcome to our Tuesday evening health practitioner and LifeWave X39 intro. My name is Gregory Mascari and I'll be our host tonight. And I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. My wife, Robin, and I have been involved in LifeWave for a little over 3 years. And we're so excited about the changes we're making in people's lives and health and their wealth. So tonight we have a special guest, Dr. Jeffrey Hubbard, that I'm going to be introducing to you in just a few minutes, and he'll be sharing some interesting information about why he has incorporated LifeWave into his clinical practice. And but before we jump into that, what I'd like to do is go ahead and share my screen and do a brief overview of LifeWave and X39 and the science behind this historic breakthrough in affordable stem cell technology. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. And we're going to talk to you now about the stem cell revolution. So welcome everyone. But before we go too deep into it, I'd like to share with you a realization I came to a few years ago. I finally figured out what I want to be when I get up, when I get older, when I grow up, right? Younger, okay? Because getting old isn't such a cool thing. So let me ask you a personal question now. If anything were possible, if you could wave a magic wand, what is one thing you'd choose to experience differently in your health or in the health of someone you love and care for? And what difference would that make for you or them? And with that being said, let me make a note that our products are not designed or intended to heal, treat, or diagnose any disease. They do, however, help bring our bodies back into a more healthy regenerative mode, and many times very wonderful things then begin to happen. So welcome to the stem cell revolution, because we believe everyone wants to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And we found that stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that helps to repair and regenerate damaged cells in all of our organs, glands, skin, muscles, bones, all throughout our entire body. And so the problem is, the older we get, the less stem cells we have and the less active they are. Okay, it's a twofold problem. And by age 60, only a small percentage remain active. And sadly, the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. And neither of those sound very cool to me. So what about stem cell injections? Because they've certainly become very popular, but you know what? They're very pricey. They can be very expensive. They can be painful. They can be risky and controversial. And you know what? You could spend thousands or tens of thousands of dollars with no guaranteed results. Well, the good news we have for you here tonight is you can look, feel, perform, and live younger with our historic breakthrough in stem cell activation. It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's an affordable, safe, and non-invasive drug-free technology. And it's a patented form of phototherapy. And we're going to go into that in just a few more minutes here. It uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our stem cell activity. And this is the brainchild of our visionary founder and CEO, David Schmidt. And David is not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, David's a genius inventor with over 130 patents and patent pendings. And he's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years. In fact, David's already conducted over 80 clinical studies proving the efficacy of our LifeWave phototherapy products, and many more studies are always in the works. Now, LifeWave itself is a 17-year-old advanced technology company focused in the field of health sciences research and development. It was founded back in 2004 based on an energy-enhancing technology that David Schmidt, our founder, developed for Navy SEALs to increase their strength, stamina, and performance without the use of drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. This technology turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. We do have corporate headquarters, laboratory, and manufacturing diversified between California, Utah, and Ireland. And we're already engaged in global distribution to over 75 countries with 15 global distribution centers. So we truly are a global technology, wellness, health sciences company. Now, the word is getting out, and as I said, LifeWave patches are being used by pro and amateur athletes around the world in almost every sport. The media has begun to notice, and you might too, if you be watching for these auspicious little white round patches on some of your favorite athletes and Olympians. So how does this amazing technology work? Well, it's based on a type of phototherapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals. And when they are applied or near our body, they're activated by our body heat, and then they begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate very targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in our body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it is the basis for our LifeWave phototherapy patches. Now, it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes within our body. For example, when we go out in the sun, a specific frequency of light causes our body to make vitamin D. We're not getting a vitamin D download from the sun, right? Another frequency of light, UV, causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock-solid, well-respected, and recognized scientific principle. Now, our focus for the last 14 years has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science. And I'm happy to tell you that 3 years ago, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch, which truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell activation. Some are calling this the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science, because we're actually doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do. And that is X39 activates a specific copper peptide that activates your own stem cells. It also alters gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. So X39 certainly is a game changer for the people that use it and for LifeWave, and it's been a true breakthrough. And our founder and CEO, David Schmidt, says this is my greatest achievement yet. And yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies. Yes, we have field results proving that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping people to look, feel, perform, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting news. So that ends this part of our presentation. I'm going to stop my screen share, and I'm going to see if I can locate our good Dr. Jeff and promote him out to a speaker here with us. Okay, I'm not seeing Dr. Jeff. I don't know, Robin, if you're seeing Dr. Jeff, but I'm not seeing him in the, oh, no, I'm not seeing him there. So we may be winging it without him tonight. So hold on, let me see. Dr. Jeff, where are you? Okay, Robin, I'm not seeing him there. So I'm going to just continue with the rest of the PowerPoint. I'm going to go back to my screen share. This is what you call an audible. Okay, I'm going to call an audible here. So
we all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often, with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Unless you're using LifeWave. Since 2004, LifeWave has been delivering its amazing life-enhancing technology to people across the world, always helping the body do what it was designed to do, only better. And as it turns out, the best was yet to come. David Schmidt, our founder, creative force, and world-class inventor behind LifeWave technology, has recently achieved something in the field of regenerative science with a single LifeWave patch that researchers worldwide, spending years and billions of dollars, could not. Introducing LifeWave X39, the world's first product ever to activate stem cells, a true breakthrough in regenerative science that helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state in a way no other product can. The secret? By harnessing the power of LifeWave's patented phototherapy, X39 uses light to elevate a peptide proven to signal the activation of stem cells. Think about it. These are the cells that generate and regenerate all the cells and structures of the human body. They're the building blocks for our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an internal repair system everywhere. But as we age, stem cells become less effective. Their ability to repair damaged tissue is reduced. In fact, by age 60, they've slowed dramatically. But all that changes when just one LifeWave X39 patch is placed anywhere on the body each day. Instead of older and less effective stem cells, X39 supports the production of younger and healthier stem cells. This amazing level of control over your vitality and well-being was simply not possible, let alone this easy, until now. And the best part? Like all LifeWave patches, X39 is safe, non-invasive, and incredibly cost-effective. Look what people are saying about LifeWave X39. Backed by clinical studies, multiple patents, and 20 years of development, any one of these benefits would be impressive. But X39 is so effective, it can influence everything about your body, how you look, feel, perform, and heal. It's time you experience the power of X39. Imagine investing in companies like these when they first went public and riding their growth to where they are today. Those who made wise decisions to get involved gained incredible wealth. Now it's your turn. When it comes to regenerative anti-aging science, stem cells are the future. And thanks to LifeWave, you are at the forefront of it all. Don't miss out. X39 puts you on the threshold of explosive growth in your business like no other product ever could. And all you need to do is try it and share it with others. The LifeWave X39 patch, an absolute breakthrough. For your body, for your business. Live long, live well, live younger. Experience the power of LifeWave today.
Well, I tell you, every time I see that video, I love it a little more. And hold on a second, I'm going to promote our speaker here to a co-host. So hold on, Dr. Jeff. And let me do a proper introduction of you. And so we're very excited to have Dr. Jeffrey Hubbard on with us. He's not only an MD, he's got a Master's of Science in Physiology, and he's a founder and CEO of Chemedicare, which is an innovative health and wellness ecosystem that strives to remediate health disparities and tackle chronic illness here and abroad. And you know, Jeff has been on the leading edge of preventative health and wellness for many years, and he combines his allopathic medical background along with his wellness and interest in health and wellness and alternative modalities. So we're really thrilled to have Dr. Jeff on with us and part of the LifeWave community and team. So Dr. Jeff, if you want to turn your camera on, good evening. And hey, buddy, good to see you.
How you doing?
Good. I'm giving Robin a little time off tonight, so I get to be your interviewer and I'll be the host here.
Man, it's a good change of pace, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it is, So Dr. Jeff, you've got a really interesting and diversified practice. What was it about LifeWave that caught your eye and attention that made you decide first to try it for yourself and then to incorporate it into your practice with your patients?
Well, Greg, to be honest with you, I'm my own guinea pig, so it wasn't hard to try for myself. So that was pretty easy. But when I really got motivated to share it with my circle of influence and patients and family members and all of that good stuff was really when I dug into the science. Mm-hmm. You're hard pressed to find, there's this stigma around network marketing, and sometimes it really does the products a disservice because they're really great products, but because of the business structure, it turns people off. And so, quite honest with you, I was kind of burned out on network marketing when I was introduced. We were kind of like right in the throes, getting ready to go into the pandemic, and it was just kind of chaotic at that time. But it was great because it allowed me the time to sit down and really read these studies. And there were quite a few that just jumped off the page at me like, wow, if this is real, this is phenomenal. Why haven't I found out about this before? So that's what really kind of motivated me to order my pack and get started and started wearing them. And then the rubber really met the road. I went down to Houston, where I'm from, and I call him my uncle. He's a family friend, great friends with my dad, and he owns a bunch of assisted living facilities. There was a gentleman there who was a resident. He had a really bad ulcer on his leg that was not healing. They had been trying to get it to close up for 6 weeks, 2 days on X39, and it had already shrunk significantly and started to scab over. And I was like, whoa. This thing is amazing. Like if this happens on a regular basis, there's lives are going to change. That's what really got me stoked.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And, the MLM does have a stigma about it, but I like to tell people, LifeWave is really a leading edge health science research and development company with this breakthrough technology that strategically chose direct sales network marketing as the best channel of distribution to get these products to market, because they didn't want to go down through the big pharma route. And we couldn't put it on a shelf in a health food store. It doesn't leave much left. Yeah. And the people to people, the high touch aspect of network marketing, and some of the most significant wellness products, breakthrough wellness products, are channeled through network marketing because it's the best way to get them to market.
Totally agreed. There would be no justice done to just put it on the shelf. Nobody would know what it does. It needs the explanation of somebody who's worn it, somebody who's got experience, somebody who's got testimonials. So I totally understand that now, but sometimes it can be a hurdle to get over. Yeah. So I was in my own head about that at first.
Resume. Okay. I don't know why that happened. I didn't touch anything, but Dr. Jeff, why don't you share some of the results you're seeing with some of your patients?
Well, in general, people are experiencing just a really powerful energy boost. I think that's one of the most common experiences that most people have. Just from a general wellness standpoint, they feel more vibrant, they feel young, they sleep better, they're much more clear mentally, they've got a much better memory. They work out easier, they recover better. Small things, scars and stuff from childhood and from previous traumatic injury tend to kind of resolve itself. Me personally, I had a rotator cuff issue from playing baseball and not taking the best care of my shoulder when I was younger. And I used to have problems washing my back. I used to have problems sleeping. It would give me aches and pains. I had to really stretch it when I worked out. And one day I was, just kind of doing my shoulder presses, and I was like, wait a minute, this arm is working a lot better than it did a couple of months ago. And no other rationale I could come up with was other than me consistently wearing the X39. So those are the most common things. But to be honest with you, Greg, the sky's the limit. I mean, I've seen blood pressure resolve. I've seen blood sugars resolve. I've seen issues with cognitive decline resolve. I've seen, traumatic injury, joint disease, really chronic pain and fatigue. All of those things just tend to slowly go away or dramatically reduce themselves when people consistently wear the technology.
And I know some people feel it fast. Like sometimes you put a patch on people and go, what is that? And other people don't feel it so fast. It's more subtle. And I like to think, the people that are furthest from center or homeostasis and vibrant health, the people that are way off center, it's a much more noticeable trip back to center. So they sometimes feel it a lot faster. But, I patched up some pretty healthy guys and they go, I'm not sure until they go to the gym or something, or they compete. But, what about, the speed of recovery or the, people noticing it, some fast, some slow? How do you deal with that with your patients?
So I really take a very sort of conservative approach, right? I tell them at least 90 to 120 days before you can make any sort of judgment about how the patches are working for you. And that gives you a wide breadth, so some people within the first couple of weeks, first couple of days, they're going to get a response. Other people, it takes a little bit longer. And I say, hey, whatever issues you may be having, those didn't happen overnight. You can't expect them to resolve overnight either, so the reality is, we live in a microwave culture, Greg. Everybody wants things go, now. And that's really, honestly, the reason why a lot of pharmaceutical medications are sought after, because you want a solution right now, today. And that's really quite possibly one of the only benefits, in my opinion, for pharmaceutical drugs, is that if you got something that needs immediate stuff right now, that's the thing. So alternative modalities and things that are how do I want to say this? Yeah, just call it alternative. Things that aren't necessarily in the normal scope of things. They work differently. They take time, and it's a pace that you have to get comfortable with when you're stepping outside of traditional stuff.
What I like to tell people is, as soon as you put the patches on, they start working, whether you feel it or not. It's instantaneous, because this is light therapy, and it's, the results are the speed of light, but sometimes those results are subtle and take a while to manifest. And for others, as we say, sometimes people have dramatic results, very quickly, within minutes or hours.
Yes.
So it varies a lot, doesn't it?
It does. Everybody has a unique journey. Yeah. So you got to walk the walk and have your journey with the patches. And then next thing you know, you have that aha moment, and you're like, wow, this, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily believe it's the patch at first. I think they try to think of all the other things that it may be. And then they get to this point, it's like, no, it's got to be the patch. There's no other explanation for this.
And what, I know that, we say stem cell activation because that's probably the sexiest thing that this thing does. Sure. But we also know it's actually activating copper peptide, which does so many other things. One of the big ones is activating stem cells. Right. But talk about some of the other benefits of activating copper peptide in a person's body, and the decline of copper peptide as we age.
So true. So, first things first is just to share that, this is an endogenous molecule. So GHK is produced, and its cousin GHK copper peptide is produced in the body all the time since birth. But you're right, as we age, there's a natural decline, like with most of our molecules, that these are the things that kind of make us age, because we're not producing them with the same volume. So anyway, Dr. Lauren Picard was able to isolate this molecule in the early 1970s. He's been coined the turn back the clock doc. So he's got all of these anti-aging studies and things that are going on because of this GHK copper peptide molecule and the way that it influences gene expression. So for those of you who may be hearing about gene expression for the first time, our DNA is broken down into genes. And these genes have a certain makeup that produce certain proteins that we need in order for our bodies to function. And so this GHK copper peptide goes inside the cell, it goes inside the nucleus, and the nucleus is where this DNA is held. And so it helps to express certain genes that have been determined, that we've determined through biomedical science to be really beneficial. So either they're upregulated or they're downregulated. What does that mean? When you upregulate a gene, that means you produce more of its products, more of its proteins. When you downregulate a gene, you decrease the amount of production of those products or create a dormancy in that gene. So let's say, for instance, the gene helps to lose weight, helps to burn fat. We want to rev that gene up, right? So that's upregulated. Say, for instance, you have one that's for bone loss, right? We don't want to lose bone. We want to maintain our bone density. So we turn that one down or turn that one off. And so this molecule is doing this with 4,192 different genes whenever we put on the patch.
Oh my
so
God.
The stem cell element is just one of those particular gene expression functionalities that it does. And I'm not going to even begin to say that I understand all of it in its complexity, but I understand the basics on what it's doing, and that these genes are just, they're beneficial for our lifestyle. So that is just what the results are when we are consistently wearing this puppy. And so you're right. You know, it's working immediately. As soon as our body heat bounces off the patch and back into the skin, there's an immediate response. Yeah, it might take some time because it's subtle. And, you know, most people say, you know, within a couple of 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, they have their revelation. It's like, wait a minute. You know, same thing with me. It was like my shoulder's better. I didn't even realize it. And so now, you know, I could barely raise my hand over my head at one point. You know, so I was talking to my colleagues and stuff, like, do I need a rotator cuff surgery or something? At like my early 30s, I was considering this surgery, and now.
You know, it's one of the common responses we hear from people with shoulder issues is like, whoa, I can wash my hair again. I can scratch my back again. Yep, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, there's so much, you know, and that's about 1/3 of the human genome, right? Over 4,000 genes. So it is literally turning back our biological clock, making us younger. Would that be an accurate statement?
That is an accurate statement. This is the fountain of youth, my friend.
I love that. I love that. It's the patch of youth.
The patch.
The power of the patch. The power of the patch. That's so awesome. Well, anything else you want to share with our folks? We've got a few people. We got a couple of stories, people with their hand raised for testimonials. We got a few people with some questions. Anything you'd like to share to our listeners before we maybe take a couple of questions and a couple of testimonials?
Well, guys, I'll just say this in general. I just said this on my program just a few minutes ago. To me, this is the most profound stem cell product on the market today. And I've been looking and reading and trying to find something that's an equivalent or even close to it. And there's nothing right now, guys. This is a patented technology. It's backed by 90-something clinical studies. I mean, there's nothing like it. Typically, even if it's a dynamic product, there's no clinical studies to match. So that's what's so interesting to me, is that the science is there and it's irrefutable. So just, you know, for your business people, for your people who are, you know, we've got a lot of family members who can be stubborn. We've got a lot of friends and coworkers who can be stubborn when it's something that doesn't make sense to them and it's not in their sphere of consciousness. You know, utilize those clinical studies, you know, put a few of those in front of your doctor, put a few of those in front of your mom or your aunt or whomever it is that may be resistant to trying it, and say, look, guys, this is a peer-reviewed, double-blind study from a reputable journal. Don't argue with me, argue with the science. So that would be.
I've been marketing wellness products for over 30 years, and I've never seen anything with close to this level of research and proof and patents. So
Exactly.
it's very, very exciting. So, Ann, you've got your hand up. Ann, did you want to ask a question, or do you have a testimonial for us tonight, Ann? I see you got your hand up. You can unmute yourself. And there you go. Go ahead.
I actually didn't by accident hit it, but certainly can share a testimonial, because there are many, many, many testimonials that I've experienced personally. And so I think that I will share one that I've shared quite frequently, and the one that I like the most because it's the one that has impacted my family the most, and that's my mom's testimonial when she had a brain injury. And when her blood pressure shot up, and I'm going to be very careful about not saying the diagnosis, obviously, but, and what we did was we used what we call the hat protocol on her. And it was so amazing to put that hat on at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 8 o'clock that night, her symptoms totally were gone away. Here were her symptoms. She had inability to walk steady, was holding on to all the furniture. She had spinning wheels she described in front of her eyes. She was seeing double. She said she was very confused. She had tried to pay her bills, couldn't do it. And so per Dr. Tom's recommendation, we put the hat protocol on her, and 5 hours later, she looked at us and said, it's gone. Confusion was gone. The double vision was gone. The spinning wheel was gone. And that's been almost 6 months now. And all we do is X39, X49 on her. And I use SP6 because she has blood sugar cravings all the time. She loves her carbs. And she has been so stable. And I just love these patches. They're amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ann.
And I'll tell you this, Greg, that was a very similar testimonial to one of my colleagues in the Philippines. Her mother had significant cognitive decline. The doctors told her that she would need 24/7 care like she was an infant. And from that point forward, she started wearing X39, and she went back to bathing herself. She went back to feeding herself. She started calling all the grandkids by their names. It was phenomenal. It's just like, wait a minute.
Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. So Luis, you've got your hand up. Did you have a story you wanted to share? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sorry, I must have done that by mistake, but I do want to say, since it happened, that I've been using Dr. Velvet and Dr. Jeff's kind guidance for a patient who's at the hospital right now. And using the carnosine and the Eon patches have just worked beautifully. I cannot say right now the effects on him because everything I can think of is the names of diseases. And
but he's doing a lot better.
Yes, I'm very, very grateful and thankful for the company, the friendship, the help, the guidance, the love that these both professionals have shared with me throughout this pretty difficult day. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for sharing that, Louis. Okay, here's a question for you, Dr. Jeff, from Deanna. She says, my husband has had an organ transplant and he's struggling with inflammation, muscle recovery, sleep, and anxiety. And what would you recommend, Doc?
Okay, so the question would be back to you. How long ago was the transplant? Is he still on anti-rejection drugs? All of that good stuff. I'm assuming that he is. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the X39 and X49, you can't wear those in this scenario because of the anti-rejection drugs. So, and I would be very careful with glutathione as well, just typically because it can be very impactful, right? It can, the really quick detox can sometimes take a toll. So just maybe ease into glutathione, maybe once every 3 days, see how that's tolerated. As he is getting comfortable with the increase in glutathione, then you can increase it and rev it up. But all the other patches are fair game. I really think Alavita and Eon overnight is a powerful combination to get sleep and to help the body heal and recover. The study on aloe vera is simply amazing. Pituitary gland, hypothalamus, frontal lobe, liver,
wow,
kidneys, all of that, like within 7 days, all of those organs improve their functionality. So that's a really great one. It's kind of marketed as a skin patch, but it does way more than beautify the skin.
Yeah.
So that would be, if he's also Nirvana would be really good. Sometimes, when we have these serious surgeries and things like that, we can be a little down. Nirvana might help his mood and kind of help with some other hormone function stuff that could be beneficial for him.
Yeah. And, certainly the Eon was his anti-inflammatory. Probably the Eon and the aloe vera sounds like a great combination.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now here's someone that says they have, their grandson is in his 30s and he has what looks like a deep red roses on his cheeks for many years. And now that redness has begun to spread to most of his face. He also has a genetic immune deficiency. So what besides X39 would help his face and perhaps the immune problem?
So, keeping it strictly patches, glutathione would be great. Glutathione, guys, is just the master antioxidant, right? It helps to modulate the immune function. It helps to minimize inflammation. If his immune system is already underperforming or compromised to whatever degree, then that would be very helpful. Carnosine would also be helpful. It's an antioxidant as well. So you just want to clean out those cells and start to eliminate some of that stuff. This is another thing, even for the person who's going through the organ transplant. You have to find a way to eliminate these things. As you release these toxins and get them out, you have to make sure that your colon is cleansed and that you're eliminating properly. Try to find a way to get a sweat if you have an infrared bed or something like that. If they're unable to exercise, you just want to be able to start to eliminate some of that crud that gets stuck in there, especially if you have been bedridden or spend any time, not being completely active. That would be a great way to go about it.
Excellent. Okay, here's another one from Jennifer, and she says, "Hello, Dr. Jeff. I have a customer who has a painful condition in his feet that's often triggered by diet, dehydration, and high levels of uric acid." I think we know what that is. He's been using X39 for 6 months, and it still comes and goes. He watches his diet, and he's well hydrated. And wondering if you have any suggestion of additional patches or tips that might help serve him on his limited budget.
Hey, Jennifer, great question. And thanks for the thorough explanation. I know exactly what you're talking about. So glutathione and Eon stacked is by far one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory combos that we have patch-wise. So I put that right on the joint, on the affected joint. And that should help clear the uric acid. That should also help to clear any other toxins and things that might be harboring there. Tell him to cut back on all the red meat and the dairy, and he should be seeing some improvement.
Okay. So cool. Thanks very much. Here's another one from Meredith. She says, "Dr. Jeff, could you please explain how the use of multiple patches, example, multiple X39s at one time might be beneficial? There's greater copper peptide elevation or more stem cells, or maybe it's more in a targeted area. When and why would you use multiple patches and specifically multiple X39?
Great question. Great question. So me personally, when I say wear 2 X39s or sometimes 3 X39s, it's when you're in extreme crisis. So if you are acutely ill and something serious is going on, I wouldn't fool around. I would try to get as much copper peptide in my system as possible. I would try to, activate as many stem cells as possible. And so I wouldn't do that for extreme periods of time, but I think within 1 to 2 week course when you're in sort of a serious situation is definitely applicable. And I do suggest, we patch the hallmark locations, conception vessel 4 underneath the navel, governing vessel 14 on the back of the neck. But if there's a place specific, like say for instance, you had a car accident, say for instance, you fell from a ladder, say for instance, you had some other traumatic injury and you've got some broken bones or had some surgeries or things like that, that would warrant, a couple of extra X39. So say you have one on each major juncture, and then say you have a broken forearm or something, you can put one right next to the broken bone or the wound or, the stitches or whatever the case may be for wound healing or for mending the bone or for, traumatic injury in a particular location.
I'll share a story relevant to that question, because one of our members, a good friend, William, over in Thailand, last Friday did a wellness expo, and he had a LifeWave X39 booth there, and a big stocky guy, 6'3", kind of burly guy came up, and they were chatting, and William offered to patch him, and he put an X39 on C7 on the back. And in dialogue, it turns out the guy is a Kung Fu master. And he asked, what kind of, are you experiencing any pain? He goes, all the time. He says, on what level? He says, 8.5. He says, you're at 8.5 all the time? And he goes, yeah, a few years ago, I seriously injured several vertebrae in my back, and it's just never been the same, and I refused to get surgery. So William says, here's 3 more X39, go in the bathroom and put them on those vertebrae and come back and later and let me know how you're feeling. He says about an hour later, this guy comes back up, tough guy, with tears in his eyes, and says, it's down to a 2. So that's an example when you might want to use more than one, right? And it just works, Yeah. So, yeah, that was exciting. So here's another question for you. And this might be a question for Robin if she wants to come off mute, because she's my knee girl. I want to know what you would suggest to use following a knee replacement. 1 week post-op. I wear X39, 49, glutathione, Eon, IceWave, specific locations around my knee. It sounds like you're doing a lot of the right stuff, Nancy. So I don't know, Doc, if you want to share, or if Robin, you want to share anything, but sounds like she's doing the right things there. Doesn't sound like Robin's going to pipe in, so I guess it's yours.
I'll pipe in. You are doing all the good stuff. I would add carnosine. Carnosine repairs tissues, and when they do a knee replacement, there's a lot of torn tissues. And Dr. Jeff, what do you say?
What say you, Dr. Jeff? It looks like, gosh, did we lose him? I think we lost Dr. Jeff. I think the call might be over. He's no longer with us. So, well, thank you. And, Robin, why don't you tell your knee story real quick? Oh, there he's back. Okay. Dr. Jeff, did you want to add anything what Robin said? Did you hear her response?
I didn't. I lost you guys for a second there. I had to reboot.
Okay. She said maybe consider adding carnosine to the mix, because Nancy's already using glutathione, Eon, IceWave, 39 and 49. So she's got a pretty good lineup going there.
Yeah. And is there a particular issue, or is this just
yeah, she just had a knee replacement a week ago. So she's post-op 1 week for a knee replacement.
And you said IceWave, 39, 49, glutathione.
And Eon. And Robin suggested adding carnosine.
I think that's a smart addition. And I would just talk about this triangular positioning that I read about in acupuncture, where you take, for example, take the IceWave and you place them on the eyes of the knee. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term, but just below the kneecap, there's soft spots on either side of the knee. So you put the tan patch on the left side of that knee and the white patch on the right side of that knee. And then above the kneecap, you do the X39 or you do glutathione or Eon. So it kind of makes a triangular shape around the kneecap.
Interesting.
Has been very, very effective for people with all sorts of knee issues.
So Nancy, give that a try and please let us know what kind of results you get from that. We're going a little long. Maybe we'll take one more and then we'll just, call it a wrap. But this next one, we just got to answer. Lorraine's saying, will the patch help bone-on-bone knee problem? 3.5 years ago, Robin was bone-on-bone knee and just about ready to spend $12,500 for stem cell injection when Kai Jacobson, our enroller, called and said, hey, this company I'm with just came out with a stem cell patch. And Robin, she says, how fast can I get it? She didn't ask how much it cost. She didn't want it. It was one of the quickest sales ever, right? And so I'm just going to go ahead and finish your story for you, darling. But so it comes about 3 days later. She puts the, X39 on C7 on the back of her neck. And 7 days later, her bone-on-bone knee stopped hurting. So, now it didn't heal the knee, but the comfort and quality of life was off the charts different. So, and that was just X39. But I think what you just said, Dr. Jeff, that triangulation, that would probably work better, faster than just the X39 on C7.
Yes,
but
sir.
That proves how systemic, the patch technology works.
Absolutely. And so I would say that positioning of the knee is really powerful. And that would be my recommendation for bone-on-bone joint pain in general, more specifically the knee. But it's really interesting that you mentioned how those hallmark locations on the back of the neck, below the navel. Yep. So what I've gained an appreciation for is that, these meridians that flow through our body that we learn about through traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, they're symmetrical. So you've got, the same way you got a liver meridian on one side, you got a liver meridian on the other side. You got a pericardium on one side, you got a pericardium on the other side. Mm-hmm. So these midline meridians, they're the only ones that we have one of, not two. Uh-huh. And so these other ones cross over in certain places, like the back of the neck, like below the navel. So they're like a train junction for meridians. Mm-hmm. So that's really powerful because you can get full body effect when you place it there versus putting it on an actual issue on a joint or on a particular acupoint in a certain meridian. So really, really cool stuff. I'm by no means an acupuncturist, but I've been working hard to kind of understand how these things work so I can be better equipped to answer some of these questions.
Well, there's one more relevant question, and then we'll call it quits. And how does the amount of water you drink and hydration affect how the patches work?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know that I know the exact answer for that. This is my educated guess. We're so much water. We're 76% water or so. And if you're not in proper hydration, your physiology is off anyway. All of the things that we need as far as our extracellular and intracellular fluid is off. The electrical balance is off between our cells. So that's really the key to how our chi flows through our body in the first place. So it's not that the patches won't work. It's that they're not working to their most effective capability. So it's the same thing with the minerals. Those key minerals that we need to have, magnesium, copper, and zinc, they have a really solid relationship on how our flow of energy works and how the patches are able to do what they do.
Beautiful. Now we have so many more questions. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Jeff, but you do telemedicine, you do phone consultation for a fee. And yes, because you're a medical doctor, plus you know so much about LifeWave, you're such a unique fit. Do you want to share with folks how they might get in contact with you if they want to do a telemedicine?
Yes, sir. I'll tell you what, I'll put my LifeWave related email in the chat.
Perfect.
Way anybody who's interested can just send me an email and I can send you my scheduling link. And that way, it's quite easy. You just let me know when's effective for you. You see my calendar and then you block off time and we'll meet on Zoom.
Perfect. So that is there for a few moments. So if you're interested in contacting Dr. Jeff, scroll to the bottom of the chat and copy his email down right away, because when we end this call, it's going to be gone. So it's Dr. J. Hubbard, that's double B-A-R-D, at md@gmail. Dr. J. Hubbard, md@gmail. So Dr. Jeff, thank you so much. This is a great call. It was very fun. Thank you, Robin, for letting me do it tonight. You know, we changed roles, and glad to be able to share you with everyone. And so we'll see you on one of the next calls, and good luck on your upcoming trip to the Philippines.
Yes, guys. So if anybody has any connections in Southeast Asia, we're having a huge event July 30th in Iloilo, which is in the central islands of the archipelago in the Philippines. So we're excited. I'll be there for approximately 2 weeks. So we're going to try to rock that sucker. We're going to have a great time.
All right. Beautiful.
And I appreciate Greg. And as always, I really enjoy sharing space, guys. And everybody keep hope alive. I know it's kind of a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, but let's stay positive, stay focused, and keep getting healthier.
Okay, someone's saying I gave the wrong email address audibly. Let me double check. Dr. Dr. J. Oh, it's JB, excuse me. Dr. JB Hubbard. I missed the B. Sorry, everyone. Dr. Dr. JB Hubbard. That's what double B-A-R-D, MD@gmail.com. So you can copy it from the text or get back with one of us if you miss it. But I know Dr. Jeff would be happy to work with any or all of you that have specific medical questions. And as a doctor in private consultation, you can mention diseases. All right. Thank you, Dr. Jeff. Love you, man. And we'll see you on one of the upcoming calls.
Have a great evening.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
His patients for them, and has become an expert and respected